Anika Beaumont. Wrong voice, wrong face, wrong everything. But the rain was pouring, her career was destroyed, and every rideshare kept canceling. So she opened the door. The driver had tattoos crawling up his neck, a scar under his eye, and hands that gripped the steering wheel like weapons. He didn't smile, didn't explain, just drove. Then another car started following them. "Get down," he said, voice cold as death. Gunshots shattered the windows. And when the smoke cleared, he turned to her and said 5 words that flipped her entire world. "I'm not your driver." Before we continue, if you believe corrupt bosses who destroy innocent careers deserve to be exposed, hit that subscribe button for Ebony and Pearl stories. Only manipulators and workplace bullies won't subscribe. Inside, silence felt like a weapon. The driver, tattooed neck, sharp jawline, cold eyes, checked the mirrors too often, gripped the steering wheel too tight, moved like a man expecting war. Anika's heart pounded. Something was wrong. Terribly wrong. "Rough night?" he finally asked. She didn't know why she answered honestly. "My boss tried to destroy me. Lied to HR. Said I fabricated numbers." His fingers tightened around the wheel. Knuckles white, tattoos dark against skin. "You're too sharp for someone like that to step on," he said quietly. "How would you know?" she shot back. He didn't respond. But then she saw it, another car following them. At first, coincidence. Until the driver took a sharp turn down an empty alley and said the words that changed everything. "Anika, get down." Boom. Gunshots cracked the air. Windows shattered. Anika screamed as glass exploded around her, raining down like deadly diamonds. She threw herself to the floor, hands over her head, heart hammering so hard she thought it would burst. The driver stepped out calmly, too calmly, like he'd done this 1,000 times. Through the shattered window, Anika watched in frozen horror. He moved like death itself. Fluid, precise, lethal. One attacker went down, then another, then a third. No hesitation, no fear, just brutal, controlled efficiency. When he slid back into the driver's seat, breath steady, eyes sharp, blood splattered on his collar, he said, "You need to trust me now." Anika's voice shook. "Who are you?" His jaw flexed before he gave the answer that shattered her reality. "I'm not your driver. I'm Yom UK Jean, and those men were here for me." Her blood ran cold. She'd heard that name whispered in street gossip. Some said he controlled half the underground ports. Others said he was dead. No one knew what he looked like. Until now. UK Jean drove fast, weaving through side streets, losing the tail. Rain pounded the windshield. Sirens wailed in the distance. Anika pressed herself against the door, mind racing. "I'm in a car with a Mafia boss. I'm going to die. This is how it ends." But instead of driving her somewhere remote to finish her off, UK Jean took quiet turn into an abandoned parking garage. He killed the engine. Silence. Only the sound of rain echoing through concrete. "You shouldn't be involved in this," he said, staring straight ahead. "Tonight wasn't coincidence." "What do you mean?" Anika demanded, fear turning into anger. "What the hell is going on?" He hesitated for the first time. "Someone wanted me occupied. Vulnerable. They used you to do it." "Why me?" Her voice cracked. His eyes softened only for a heartbeat. "Because of what you did 10 years ago." Her confusion deepened. "I don't understand." UK Jean turned to face her fully. "When I was 19, injured and hunted, I collapsed outside a community center. A young woman found me bleeding, panicking, freezing." Anika's breath caught. "Instead of calling the police, which would have meant my death, she hid me. Cleaned my wound. Warned me before the hitmen returned." He paused. I never saw her face clearly. Just her gold hoop earrings. Her soft voice. Her steady hands. Unconsciously, Anika touched her earrings. The same gold hoops she'd worn for years. "You saved me once," UK Jean murmured. "I recognized those earrings the moment you stepped into my car. I didn't intend for you to get caught in this mess." Anika's world tilted. All these years later, the stranger she'd saved was now the most dangerous man in the city. Before she could respond, the garage lights flickered off. Clap, clap, clap. A slow, mocking applause echoed through the darkness. A tall figure stepped forward from the shadows, expensive suit, cruel smile. CEO Calvin Rourke. Her boss. Anika's jaw dropped. UK Jean exhaled sharply. Of course. Him. Rourke smirked. Ms. Beaumont, I didn't expect you to discover your little driver's secret so quickly. How unfortunate for you both. What are you doing here? Anika whispered. Your numbers weren't the only thing I rigged tonight, sweetheart. Rourke's voice dripped with venom. I've been laundering money through your company for years. UK Jean's voice turned cold as ice, and she was about to expose you. Exactly. Rourke pulled out a gun. But now that I know she's connected to you, UK Jean, I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Footsteps echoed. Men stepped out of the shadows, armed, dangerous, surrounding them. Anika's heart stopped. UK Jean's hand moved to his waistband. Any last words, Miss Beaumont? Rourke asked, aiming the gun directly at her head. If you can't stand corrupt bosses like Calvin Rourke who destroy innocent people's lives for greed, subscribe to Ebony and Pearl Stories right now and comment what time you're watching this. Only toxic manipulators and corporate criminals won't subscribe. Let's show people like Rourke that we stand for justice. What happens next? Will Anika survive? How will UK Jean protect her? The answers will shock you. The gun aimed at Anika's head. Rourke's finger tightened on the trigger. Time slowed. Then UK Jean moved. He grabbed Anika, spinning her behind a concrete pillar as gunfire erupted. Bullets tore through the air, sparking against metal, shattering what remained of the car windows. Stay down! UK Jean commanded, his voice cutting through the chaos. But Anika couldn't look away. UK Jean fought like a demon unleashed. One of Rourke's men charged. UK Jean disarmed him with a brutal strike, using the man's own weapon against the others. Another attacker came from the left. UK Jean dodged, countered, dropped him with lethal precision. But there were too many. 6, 7, 8 armed men closing in. UK Jean's movements slowed slightly. Blood seeped through his jacket from a graze on his arm. His breathing grew heavier. Rourke watched from the shadows, smiling. You're good, UK Jean. I'll give you that. But even you can't beat numbers. Watch me, UK Jean growled. He took down 2 more, but the remaining men forced him back, step by step, toward where Anika hid. Then Rourke stepped forward, gun raised, aiming directly at Anika. Let's see how well you fight when her life is on the line. UK Jean's eyes widened. Don't. Drop your weapon, Rourke ordered, or I paint this garage with her brains. UK Jean hesitated for only a heartbeat. Then he lowered his gun. Rourke's smile widened. Good boy. Now kick it away. UK Jean complied, eyes locked on Rourke. You know what's funny? Rourke stepped closer to Anika, gun still trained on her. She was always too smart for her own good, always asking questions, always digging where she shouldn't. Calvin, please, Anika whispered. Shut up. Rourke's voice turned venomous. You cost me everything tonight. My entire operation, exposed because you couldn't mind your own business. She didn't expose anything, UK Jean said coldly. I did. Then you both die. Rourke aimed at Anika again, starting with her. Bang. But the shot never reached Anika. UK Jean lunged, throwing himself between her and the bullet. The impact hit his shoulder, spinning him backward. Blood blossomed across his chest. No! Anika screamed. Chaos erupted. In the split second, Rourke's attention shifted. UK Jean, despite the wound, grabbed a discarded weapon and fired. 1 shot. Clean. Precise. Rourke's gun flew from his hand. The remaining men scattered as sirens suddenly wailed in the distance. Police, close and getting closer. This isn't over. Rourke shouted, clutching his bleeding hand as his men dragged him toward an exit. You're both dead. You hear me? Dead. Then they were gone. Silence fell. Only the sound of rain and distant sirens remained. UK Jean collapsed against the pillar, sliding to the ground. Blood soaked through his shirt, dripping onto the concrete. UK Jean! Anika dropped beside him, hands shaking. Why would you do that? He looked up at her, face pale but eyes still sharp. Couldn't let him hurt you. You don't even know me. Tears streamed down her face. We're strangers. You could have died. We're not strangers, UK Jean said quietly, grimacing through the pain. 10 years ago, you saved my life. Do you really not remember? Anika shook her head, crying harder. I was 19, bleeding out on the street. Everyone walked past me. Everyone except you. His voice softened. You pulled me into that community center, hid me, cleaned my wounds, told me to stay awake while you found supplies. Her breath caught. A memory flickered, faint, distant. A teenage boy, blood on his shirt, fear in his eyes. Please don't call the police. They'll kill me. I remember, she whispered. I remember telling you to stay conscious. I remember the gold bracelet you wore. UK Jean smiled faintly. You asked if it was a gift. I said it was from my mother, the only thing I had left of her. I told you to keep fighting for her, Anika breathed. To survive. And I did. UK Jean's eyes held hers. Because of you. You were the only person in my entire life who looked at me and saw someone worth saving. Not a criminal. Not a weapon. Just a person. UK Jean. That's why I took the bullet, he continued, his voice growing weaker. Because you're the only person who ever saw me as human. And I'd die before I let someone like Rourke take that away from this world. Anika pressed her jacket against his wound, trying to stop the bleeding. You're not dying. You hear me? You're not dying. The sirens, UK Jean murmured. You need to go. If the police find you with me, I don't care. Anika. I said, I don't care. She looked at him fiercely. You saved me tonight. I'm not leaving you to bleed out alone. UK Jean stared at her, this woman who'd saved him twice now, in 2 different lifetimes. Then headlights flooded the garage. Not police. Black SUVs. Expensive. Silent. Men in dark suits emerged, moving with military precision. Anika tensed, ready to fight, but UK Jean raised his hand weakly. It's okay. They're mine. The lead man approached, kneeling. Boss, you're hurt. I've had worse, UK Jean muttered. We'll get you to the safe house. The man's eyes shifted to Anika. And the woman? UK Jean's voice turned hard. She's under my protection. Anyone touches her, anyone, answers to me. Every man bowed. Anika stared in shock. He wasn't just a mafia boss. He was the boss. If you believe loyalty and sacrifice deserve respect, subscribe to Ebony and Pearl Stories and comment Justice Over Greed right now. Only people like Rourke who value money over lives won't subscribe. As UK Jean's men carefully lifted him, his eyes found Anika's one last time. You chose the wrong car tonight, he whispered. She smiled through her tears. Or maybe the right one. Then darkness claimed him. The safe house was nothing like Anika expected. No dark basement. No torture chambers. Instead, a luxury penthouse overlooking the city. Floor-to-ceiling windows, modern furniture, medical equipment already set up in what looked like a private clinic. Lay him down here, a woman in scrubs commanded. Mid-40s, sharp eyes, steady hands. How long ago was he shot? 15 minutes, one of UK Jean's men answered. The woman worked quickly, cutting away UK Jean's blood-soaked shirt. Anika watched from the doorway, unable to look away. His chest was covered in scars, old wounds, burn marks, what looked like knife slashes. A map of violence written on skin. What kind of life has he lived? You're the woman, the doctor said without looking up. Anika blinked. What? The one he's been protecting. The one from 10 years ago. The woman inserted in 4-line. He's talked about you. I don't understand. Ms. Beaumont. One of UK Jean's men approached. Tall, early 30s, scar across his eyebrow. I'm Taemin, boss's second in command. You should rest. This will take time. I'm not leaving. Taemin studied her carefully. Boss gave orders. You're under protection. But my men are questioning your presence here. Questioning what? Whether you're a liability. His voice remained neutral. Whether tonight was orchestrated. Whether you're working with Rourke. Anika's blood boiled. Are you serious? Your boss took a bullet for me. which is exactly why we're concerned. Taemin stepped closer. Boss doesn't take bullets for anyone. Ever. You show up, and suddenly he's bleeding out in a parking garage. You see our problem. I see paranoid men who don't trust their own boss's judgment. Silence. Then Taemin smiled slightly. You've got fire. I'll give you that. Is there a problem here? The voice was weak, but unmistakable. Jean sat up on the medical table, despite the doctor's protests. His shoulder was bandaged, face pale, but his eyes burned with authority. Boss, you shouldn't be moving. Taemin, is there a problem? Jean repeated. No, boss. Just ensuring security protocols. Anika stays. Jean's tone left no room for argument. Anyone questions that again, they answer to me. Understood. Every man in the room bowed. Yes, boss. An hour later, the penthouse cleared. Only Anika, Jean, and Taemin remained. Jean sat by the window, grimacing as he adjusted his bandaged shoulder. You should eat something. Anika couldn't. How are you so calm? Rourke tried to kill us. Your men think I'm a spy. And her voice cracked. I don't even know where I am. You're safe. That's all that matters. Safe. Anika laughed bitterly. I watched my boss reveal himself as a criminal. Got shot at. Discovered you're some kind of Mafia kingpin. Nothing about this is safe. Jean met her eyes. You want the truth? Yes. He exhaled slowly. Rourke isn't working alone. He's connected to two major syndicates, the White Serpent Syndicate and the Eastern Port Triad. They've been using legitimate corporations to launder money for years. And you? I control territory they want. Ports, trade routes, political connections. Jean's voice hardened. They see me as an obstacle. Your boss was their inside man in the corporate world. Anika's mind raced. The financial discrepancies I found, the offshore accounts. You stumbled onto their entire operation without realizing it. Jean leaned forward. Your finance expertise nearly exposed everything. That's why Rourke tried to destroy your career. That's why they want you dead. Because of numbers? Spreadsheets. Because you're dangerous to them. Jean's eyes held hers. You have a gift for seeing patterns others miss. In their world, that makes you a threat worth eliminating. Anika sank into a chair. This can't be real. It is. And now you're caught between two worlds. Jean gestured to the city below. Out there, corporate criminals hiding behind suits in boardrooms. In here, people like me who control what happens in the shadows. What exactly do you control? Anika asked quietly. Jean didn't flinch. Underground clubs. High-stakes gambling, import operations that don't always follow legal channels, political leverage, information networks. So you're a criminal? Yes. No hesitation. But I have rules. I don't traffic people. I don't deal drugs. I don't hurt innocents. And I protect those who can't protect themselves. How noble, Anika said sarcastically. I never claimed to be noble. Jean stood, walking toward her despite his injury. But the world isn't black and white. The legitimate businessmen in towers like the one you worked in, they destroy lives legally. I destroy lives in the dark. The difference is I don't pretend to be something I'm not. Anika looked up at him. Did you kidnap me? No. Then I can leave? Jean's jaw tightened. You can try, but the moment you step outside my protection, Rourke's associates will find you. They have resources you can't imagine. Money, connections, killers on payroll. So I'm a prisoner. You're alive. His voice softened. There's a difference. Tears burned Anika's eyes. I just wanted a promotion. I just wanted to do my job well. And now you know too much. And you're worth too much. Jean knelt in front of her chair, wincing through the pain. I know this isn't fair. I know you didn't ask for this. But I will keep you alive. That's a promise. Anika stared at this man, this dangerous, scarred, impossibly complicated man who'd taken a bullet for her. Why, she whispered. Why does my life matter so much to you? Jean's eyes darkened with old pain. Because 10 years ago, when I was bleeding out on that street, I was ready to die. I had been beaten, hunted, betrayed by everyone I thought I could trust. He paused. Then you found me. You didn't see a criminal or a threat. You saw a scared kid who needed help. You risked yourself to save me. His voice grew rough. That moment became my compass. Every decision I've made since then, I've asked myself, what would that woman do? The one who chose kindness when the world chose cruelty. Anika's breath caught. So, yes, your life matters, UK Jean finished, because you reminded me that humanity still exists. And I'll be damned if I let men like Rourke extinguish that light. If you believe kindness in a cruel world deserves protection, subscribe to Ebony and Pearl Stories and comment, Humanity over Greed. Only heartless manipulators like Rourke and his associates won't subscribe. Anika sat in the silence of the penthouse, staring at the city lights below, trapped between corporate corruption and mafia power, between a world that destroyed her career and a man who died to protect her. And somewhere out there, Calvin Rourke was planning his next move. The morning news broke like a tidal wave. Corporate accountant embezzles millions, manhunt underway. Anika stared at the television screen, frozen. Her face, her name, her entire life dismantled on live broadcast. Financial analyst Anika Beaumont is wanted for questioning in connection with a multi-million-dollar embezzlement scheme, the anchor announced. Sources say she falsified reports, doctored emails, and stole from her employer over a 2-year period. Turn it off, UK Jean ordered from across the room. But Anika couldn't look away. They showed screenshots, emails she'd never written, financial transfers she'd never authorized, bank statements showing deposits to accounts she'd never opened. All fake, all perfectly constructed lies. He did this, Anika whispered. Rourke did this. Taemin entered the room, tablet in hand. It's worse. They've issued a warrant. Police, FBI, everyone's looking for her. And the media is painting her as a master criminal. UK Jean's jaw tightened. Rourke's covering his tracks. Destroy her credibility so no one believes anything she says. It's working. Taemin scrolled through articles. Former colleagues are giving interviews, saying she was always secretive, that she acted suspicious. They're turning her into a villain. Anika's hand shook. My entire career, my reputation, everything I worked for, gone. Not gone, UK Jean said quietly. Just under attack. There's a difference. What difference? Anika's voice cracked. Even if I prove my innocence, the damage is done. No one will hire me. No one will trust me. I'm destroyed. UK Jean crossed the room, kneeling in front of her. Then we destroy him first. How? I'm calling a meeting with the White Serpent Syndicate's second in command. They're Rourke's partners. If I can turn them against him, his entire operation collapses. And if they don't turn, UK Jean's eyes darkened. Then I make them. The meeting was set for midnight at a neutral location, an abandoned warehouse on the industrial pier. UK Jean prepared carefully, checking weapons, briefing his men. Anika watched from the corner of the operations room, feeling useless. Boss, you sure about this? Taemin asked. White Serpent doesn't negotiate. They eliminate. Then we'll be ready. And the woman? Taemin's eyes flicked to Anika. She stays here, right? Yes. Full security detail. No one gets close. Anika stood. I want to help. You help by staying alive, UK Jean said firmly. I'm not helpless. I know you're not. UK Jean's voice softened. But tonight is dangerous, and I can't focus if I'm worried about you. Before Anika could argue, he left. Midnight came and went. 1 hour passed. Then 2. Anika paced the penthouse, anxiety clawing at her chest. The guards stationed outside wouldn't tell her anything. Then gunfire echoed in the distance. Anika ran to the window. Across the city, near the industrial district, muzzle flashes lit up the night. What's happening? She demanded. The guards exchanged looks. Tell me. There was an ambush, one finally said. Someone leaked the meeting location. White Serpent brought 3 times the expected forces. Anika's heart stopped. Is UK Jean? We don't know. Taemin called for backup. That's all we've heard. 20 minutes later, Taemin returned, bleeding from a cut above his eye, fury in his expression. Where's UK Jean? Anika rushed forward. Alive. Barely. Taemin slammed his fist against the wall. It was a setup. Someone in our circle gave them our position, our numbers, everything. Who? We don't know. But Boss is convinced someone close betrayed us. Taemin's eyes locked on Anika, and the timing is suspicious. What are you implying? You show up, and suddenly everything goes wrong. Boss gets shot. Our operations get compromised. Our enemies know our moves before we make them. Anika's blood boiled. You think I'm a spy? I think you're either the unluckiest woman alive or the most dangerous. Taemin stepped closer. Which is it? Neither. I'm a victim, just like UK Jean. Boss isn't a victim. He's a target, and you might be the weapon they're using against him. Before Anika could respond, voices echoed from the hallway. UK Jean's men arguing. She moved closer to the door, listening, only protecting her because of some childhood debt. She's making him weak. He took a bullet for her, for God's sake. What if Rourke planted her? What if this whole thing is orchestrated? Boss has never been like this. Not for anyone. She's a liability. Anika's chest tightened. They didn't trust her. Worse, they thought she was destroying the man who'd saved her life. She couldn't stay hidden. Anika returned to the main room, found the laptop Taemin had left on the table, and got to work. If they thought she was useless, she'd prove them wrong. She pulled up every file she'd ever worked on at her company, cross-referenced Rourke's financial records, traced offshore accounts, followed money trails through shell corporations. Hours passed. Slowly, the picture emerged. Rourke wasn't just laundering money. He was funding both the White Serpent Syndicate and the Eastern Port Triad, playing them against each other while skimming profits from both. And the evidence was all there, hidden in plain sight. Doctored quarterly reports, falsified expense accounts, dummy corporations in tax havens, everything she needed to destroy him. What are you doing? Anika jumped. UK Jean stood in the doorway, bandaged and exhausted but alive. Building a case, she said, against Rourke, against his partners, against everyone who's trying to kill us. UK Jean crossed the room quickly. I told you to stay safe. I'm not a damsel. Anika met his eyes. I'm your ally, and allies don't sit in corners waiting to be rescued. Anika, you took a bullet for me. You're risking everything to protect me. The least I can do is fight back. She gestured to the screen. I've found enough evidence to cripple both syndicates, bank records, money trails, witness testimonies buried in emails, everything. UK Jean stared at the data, then at her. You did this in one night. This is what I'm good at. Numbers, patterns, financial forensics. Anika's voice strengthened. You fight with weapons. I fight with spreadsheets. And right now, these spreadsheets are more dangerous to them than any gun. For the first time in days, UK Jean smiled. You're remarkable. I'm angry. Anika stood. They destroyed my career. They tried to kill us. They turned your own men against you. I'm done being a victim. UK Jean reached out, cupping her face gently despite his injuries. I knew you were special 10 years ago, but now his voice grew rough. Now I see the warrior you've become. Anika's breath caught. The moment stretched between them, charged, dangerous, full of unspoken feelings. Then UK Jean's phone buzzed. He pulled it out, face darkening as he read the message. What is it? Anika asked. UK Jean showed her the screen. Anika Beaumont, Pier 17, midnight. Come alone or Yom. UK Jean dies tonight. CR. Below the message, a photo. UK Jean safe houses his men's locations, routes he'd taken that night. They knew everything. It's a trap, UK Jean said immediately. Of course it's a trap. Anika's mind raced. But they're not actually after me. What do you mean? Then we don't play their game. Anika met his eyes. No, we play it better. Anika, you're not going. I'm going, but not alone, and not unprepared. She saved the files to an encrypted drive. I have everything we need to destroy Rourke's empire, but we need him alive to testify. This is our chance to end it. UK Jean's jaw clenched. If I let you walk into that trap, you're not letting me do anything. I'm choosing to fight. Anika stepped closer. 10 years ago, I saved your life. Tonight, let me save both of us. UK Jean stared at her. This brilliant, fearless woman who'd turned his entire world upside down. Together, he finally said. Together. If you believe fighting back against corrupt systems is worth the risk, subscribe to Ebony and Pearl Stories and comment, I choose to fight. Only cowards who bow to manipulators like Rourke won't subscribe. As midnight approached, Anika prepared for war. Not with weapons, but with the one thing that terrified men like Rourke more than anything. The truth. And somewhere across the city, in the shadows of Pier 17, a trap was being set. But this time the prey was ready to bite back. Pier 17 was a graveyard of rusted shipping containers and broken dreams. Anika stepped out of the car alone, as instructed. Rain misted the air. Floodlights cast harsh shadows across the abandoned yard. 50 feet ahead, Calvin Rourke stood surrounded by armed men. White Serpent enforcers on his left, Easternport Triad soldiers on his right. Miss Beaumont! Rourke's voice echoed across the pier. So nice of you to accept my invitation. Anika walked forward, heart pounding, but spine straight. Let's end this, Calvin. Oh, we will. Rourke smiled coldly. But first, I need something from you. Those financial files you've been building. The evidence you think will destroy me. You'll never get them. Really? Rourke gestured. 2 men dragged forward a bloodied figure. Taemin, barely conscious. Your boyfriend's second-in-command was quite chatty before he passed out. Told us everything about your little research project. Anika's fists clenched. You're a coward, Calvin. Hiding behind guns and hired muscle because you know you can't win any other way. I'm a businessman. I use available resources. Rourke stepped closer. Here's how this works. You give me those files. You work for me. Use that brilliant financial mind to clean my money, hide my assets. Do that and I let you live. And if I refuse, then I kill Taemin. Then I kill UK Jean when my men find him. Then I kill you. Rourke pulled out a gun. Your choice. Become my weapon or die like a martyr. Either way, I win. Anika's mind raced, buying time. You think the syndicates will let you keep double-crossing them? I've seen your books, Calvin. You're stealing from both sides. Rourke's smile faltered. White Serpent and Easternport both think you're their loyal partner, but you've been skimming millions, playing them against each other while you pocket the difference. Anika raised her voice. Tell me, do your friends here know you've stolen more from them than I ever could? Murmurs rippled through the armed men. Shut up, Rourke hissed. She's lying. But his voice cracked. Am I? Anika pulled out her phone. I have the proof right here. Every transaction, every stolen dollar, every lie you've told. Rourke aimed his gun at her head. Give me that phone. Now. Kill me, and the files go public automatically. I said a dead man's switch. You're bluffing. Try me. For a moment, silence. Then a voice cut through the darkness. She doesn't bluff. UK Jean emerged from the shadows, wounded, bandaged, but moving with lethal purpose. Behind him, his men materialized from behind containers, weapons raised. Rourke's eyes widened. How did you? Did you really think I'd let her face this alone? UK Jean's voice was ice. You're predictable, Rourke. The moment you sent that message, I knew exactly what you'd do. Boss! Taemin called out weakly. Hold on, UK Jean ordered. Then to Rourke, let him go. Now. Rourke laughed. Hi, desperate. You're outnumbered. Look around you. I am looking. UK Jean's eyes swept the armed syndicates. I'm looking at men who just learned their employer has been stealing from them. Men who value loyalty above all else. Men who hate traitors. The White Serpent commander stepped forward. Is this true? Have you been stealing from us? It's corporate nonsense, Rourke began. Answer the question. Rourke's finger tightened on the trigger. You want answers? Here's an answer. He fired. Not at UK Jean. At Anika. But UK Jean moved faster, throwing himself in front of her again, taking the bullet in his already wounded shoulder. No! Anika screamed. Chaos erupted. UK Jean's men opened fire. The syndicate scattered, some turning their weapons on Rourke's personal guards. Taemin broke free, disarming his captor. Anika dragged UK Jean behind a shipping container as bullets tore through metal. Why do you keep doing this? She cried, pressing her hands against his bleeding shoulder. Can't help it, UK Jean gasped. You're worth dying for. You're not dying. Not today. Not ever. Through the gunfire, Anika saw Rourke trying to escape toward a waiting boat. Not this time. She grabbed UK Jean's backup weapon, checked the clip, and ran. Anika! Wait, UK Jean called, but she was already moving. Rourke stumbled toward the dock, bleeding from a graze wound, desperation etched on his face. Calvin! Anika's voice stopped him cold. He turned, gun raised. You should have stayed down. You should have stayed honest. Anika raised her weapon, hand steady. It's over. The syndicates know you betrayed them. The police are already on their way. Your empire is burning. Then I'll take you down with me. Rourke fired. Anika Dove rolled, came up shooting. Her bullet hit his gun, sending it flying into the water. Rourke fell to his knees, defeated. Behind them, sirens wailed. Flashing lights approached. But Anika didn't lower her weapon. You destroyed my career, my reputation, my life. Her voice shook with fury. You tried to kill the one person who saw value in me when the world turned its back. So kill me, Rourke spat. Become exactly what I always knew you were, just another criminal. Anika's finger hovered over the trigger. Then a hand gently lowered her weapon. UK Jean stood beside her, bleeding but upright. Don't. He deserves it. He does. But you don't deserve the weight of his blood on your conscience. UK Jean's eyes held hers. Don't stain your soul for my justice. You're better than that. Better than him. Better than this entire rotten world. Anika's hand shook. Then she lowered the gun. You're right. He's not worth it. Police flooded the pier minutes later. But before they arrived, Anika pulled out her phone and went live, broadcasting to every social media platform simultaneously. My name is Anika Beaumont. I was framed for embezzlement by Calvin Rourke, my former employer, to cover his own crimes. She showed the documents, the money trails, the proof of his betrayals. Millions watched in real time. This man laundered money for criminal syndicates. He falsified evidence against me. He tried to have me killed to protect his empire. Anika's voice rang clear. But the truth doesn't die, and neither do I. The stream went viral in minutes. 3 weeks later, Anika stood on the balcony of a new apartment, modest, quiet, far from the corporate towers and underground empires. Rourke was in federal custody, facing charges that would keep him locked away for life. The syndicates he'd betrayed had turned state's evidence to save themselves. And Anika's name was cleared. Every news outlet that had condemned her now ran apologies. Her career was destroyed, yes, but she was free. A knock at the door pulled her from her thoughts. UK Jean stood in the hallway, arm in a sling, but healing. You stopped answering my calls. I needed time to think. About what? About everything. Anika stepped aside, letting him in. You saved my life, multiple times, but I can't build my future around someone else's protection. UK Jean's jaw tightened. I understand. I don't think you do. Anika turned to face him. I'm not rejecting you. I'm choosing myself. For the first time in my life, I'm choosing my own path. Not what my boss wants. Not what society expects. Not even what the man who saved me thinks is best. What do you want? UK Jean asked quietly. Anika stepped closer. I want to rebuild. On my terms. I want to use my skills to expose corruption, legally this time. I want to be someone who fights for truth, not someone who hides behind protection. And me? His voice was barely a whisper. You, Anika smiled softly, are the most complicated, dangerous, infuriating man I've ever met. You took bullets for me. You risked everything. You showed me what loyalty looks like. She reached up, touching his face gently. I stepped into your car that night by accident. No, UK Jean said, pulling her closer. By destiny. Their lips met, soft at first, then deeper, filled with all the fear, pain, and hope of the past 3 weeks. When they finally pulled apart, Anika rested her forehead against his. This won't be easy, she murmured. Nothing worth having ever is. Your world is dangerous, and yours is brave. UK Jean smiled. Together we might actually survive. Anika laughed, the first real laugh in weeks. Later that night, she stood in the doorway of her apartment, watching the city lights below. Somewhere out there, corrupt executives still schemed. Criminals still ruled shadows. Injustice still thrived. But now she had weapons to fight back. Knowledge, truth, courage, and beside her, a man who'd proven that even in the darkest places, loyalty still existed. You coming to bed? UK Jean called from inside. Anika smiled. Yeah, I'm coming. She closed the door on the old life, the corporate ladder, the desperate ambition, the need for others' approval, and stepped forward into something new, something dangerous, something real. Because the woman who saved a stranger 10 years ago had finally learned to save herself. And the man who'd spent a decade honoring that kindness had finally found someone worth building a future with. Together, they would burn down every corrupt empire that tried to destroy innocent lives, starting with the next villain who thought they could win. If you believe corrupt systems deserve to be exposed and good people deserve to win, subscribe to Ebony and Pearl Stories right now. Comment truth over power if you stand against manipulators like Rourke who destroy innocent lives for greed. Only corrupt cowards who abuse their power won't subscribe. Let's build a community that believes in justice.